Here we go. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to dive into the AIM-9X and why that first AIM-9X missed as the F-16 shot it at that octagon with strings over Lake Huron. We'll do a quick recap, but stay to the very end of the video because I'm going to give you some options on what maybe we could use instead of the AIM-9X, and I think it might surprise you. So stay to the very end for the bonus round for that. Let's dive in. And it's important to understand why that first missile missed, just so we don't have any other wasted missiles. And so maybe we can learn how to target these things more effectively. And it also might tell us something about what these things are made of, because as we know, the octagon with strings are not really balloons. We're not categorizing them as balloons. And that's something that some high up generals have said, is we're putting these in a different category. So when you're a fighter pilot, you're a weapons expert. So you're constantly thinking about if you're going to shoot something or drop a bomb or something like that, you want to make sure that's going to be effective against that target. So knowing what that target is will help you understand what works best against it. And that's part of the reason why the AIM-9X was selected to go up against these things, is because the AIM-9X has some capabilities that we're going to dive into that have greatly been improved on since the AIM-9 originally came around. So as a quick recap, F-15s tried to intercept this contact over Havre, Montana. They were unsuccessful. It was dark. They were not able to see it. They weren't able to get sensors on. They didn't have data link. Then that object transitioned east about 1,000 miles, a little over 1,000 miles overnight, and then it was re-intercepted by F-16s out of Madison, Wisconsin. Those F-16s tracked it across the east coast of Wisconsin, over the upper peninsula of Michigan, and then finally into Lake Huron, where they attempted to shoot it down with the AIM-9X. To back up those F-16s, there was an AWACS on station, call sign probably Dark Star or Darknet or something like that. It's always a solid call sign for that big flying control tower. And they also had a tanker on station as well, so they could loiter above, come up with a game plan, and really get eyes on this thing and assess it. And why haven't images been released of this thing? Well, ultimately, those are going to be dissected by the intelligence community, and they probably don't want to release them yet, because maybe it gives some clues about, who's responsible for these things. They want to keep that close hold for now. I think it will eventually be released, but who knows? It could be years until that happens. So now let's talk about that beautiful AIM-9X Sidewinder. The Sidewinder. Air Intercept Missile is what the AIM is going to stand for. And then the X portion is going to be because it's an advanced version of the Mike version, which was the original AIM-9. It was built by Raytheon, and they call it the triple threat, but maybe we should call it the quadruple threat, because the fourth threat is that it might miss. It can be used for air-to-air, surface attack, and surface launch capabilities. So pretty cool to have that all in one package. And it's actually a Navy-led program where they worked hand in hand with the Air Force, and Raytheon has also sold this technology to 31 countries around the globe. It's an advanced IR tracking weapon that's used for short-range engagements, and it's been proven in combat in multiple theaters. And this weapon's configured for easy installation on a wide range of modern fighters, including the F-15C, F-15E, F-16, F-18, EA-18G Growler, F-22, and F-35 Strike Fighter. And the big thing is this is actually a more advanced variant. It's the AIM-9X Block 2. And the AIM-9X Block 2 missile has a redesigned fuse, a digital ignition safety device to improve handling and in-flight safety. It's equipped with updated electronics, including a lock-on after-launch capability, using a new weapon data link to support beyond visual range engagements. So that's pretty impressive. It's also got an upgraded seeker, which extends its field of view, and it allows for high off-bore sight shots, which essentially means you don't have to be pointed directly at the object to shoot, which is another reason why using this thing against a slow-moving target when you're in a fighter going 500 miles an hour is an advantage. That way you can shoot to the side of your jet. You don't have to jink away or do something aggressive. You can actually watch and wait to see if the missile hits. And that's kind of what you saw with the F-22s taking down the Chinese spy balloon. And this part's pretty awesome. It's actually got a new thrust vectoring system, and it gives the missile greater agility, allowing it to make extremely sharp turns in midair. And the basic idea is very simple. In addition to operating the flight fins, the guidance control system controls small vanes at the rear of the missile to divert the stream of hot gas from the rocket motor. By shifting the direction of the rocket's hot gas, the vanes use the thrust force to turn the missile. When the vanes direct the gas to the right, the thrust pushes the back of the missile to the left, and the front of the missile turns to the right. This allows the missile to make extremely quick course adjustments to follow a fast-moving target that you're trying to shoot down. Now onto this object itself as it goes up against the AIM-9X. So people have asked, hey, did this object flare off the AIM-9X? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's highly unlikely just because of the shape of these things. The design that we've seen looks like it's just a self-contained unit with some sort of propulsion that we don't really know much about. So I would assume that they're using stealth or some other type of capability, some other type of low observable radar capability where they're just trying to avoid threats instead of thinking of getting this thing into a dogfight. They're like, well, we'll just avoid threats and worst case scenario, we've got more, so they shoot this thing down, no big deal. So I would say most likely this AIM-9X was not flared off and there was a different cause for the miss. But there could have been a big flare that flared this thing off, and that big flare would be the sun. So if you ever shoot an AIM-9 with the sun behind and the seeker looking at the sun, there's definitely a chance that the seeker will track on the sun and not the object that you're trying to shoot. So my guess is there was just a defect with this missile. Some little small intricate part of that missile just didn't work exactly correctly. There's tons of moving parts in there. If you think about the gas system that's used for the thrust vectoring or the complicated way that the fins work to follow a target, one little thing goes off or goes wrong slightly, and that's gonna cause a miss. All right, you made it to the end of the video, so you get the bonus round, my friend. Today we're gonna talk about what other options could be used to shoot down these things if more of them appear. And the first option I'm gonna talk to you about is a directed energy weapon. Directed energy weapons include high energy lasers, high power radio frequency or microwave devices, and charged or neutral particle beam weapons. Microwaves and lasers are both part of the electromagnetic spectrum, which includes light energy and radio waves. So if you had this on an aircraft or on the ground, obviously it would be super Gucci to just pull up and burn a hole through these objects that are maybe just flying with gas or just have like a thin skin that would be burned really easily by a laser. But then you gotta ask yourself, do you want the enemy to know that you have this capability just for these things that might not be as much of a threat? And I think there's maybe even a lower tech way for us to solve this problem. And that option is the big sexy, the A-10. It can fly at extremely slow speeds compared to fighter jets, or even an AT-6, which can fly at slow speeds as well. So I'll focus on the A-10. That thing can saddle up behind this and just watch, observe, and not be going as fast as an F-16, who would just get a fleeting shot. So how would that work? What would be the logistics? Well, I guess you could have some sort of A-10 task force that is ready to go out whenever it's needed. But again, these things are slow. So it is nice having the ability to just intercept these things extremely quickly. And the fighters that we have sitting alert are all supersonic aircraft, so they can go really fast. So as far as logistics, it might not be feasible, but how awesome would that be, shooting that big gun at these things? But then you're gonna have bullets raining down on wherever you're shooting this thing down at. So that wouldn't be a good solution as well. At least with the AIM-9, there's gonna be maybe more of a predictable debris field after this missile explodes. But again, the damage from the missile might completely destroy any evidence you have of these crafts that you might need for later. So punching through it with a bullet, maybe an inert bullet that doesn't have a warhead in it. The bullets that are just used for training are basically just lead, or there's some sort of metal that doesn't explode. That might actually be a decent way to shoot these things down. But at the end of the day, I think we have a good system. The AIM-9X is working extremely well, even with one miss. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate you all being here. Let me know what you thought in the comments below and whether you'd use an AIM-9X or something else. Let me know what other subjects you want me to cover. Hit me up on Instagram, MaxAfterburnerOfficial. You can also check out some of my other videos. I've got a video on whether the Alaska shootdown was a drone, and then YouTube will provide a video that they think is best for you. But I'm gonna say you choose. Most of all, my friend, hope you have a great day. We'll catch you in the next video.